Double trouble. Tom and Terry, my twin tractors. Isn't it interesting? We seem to live in a world now where everyone thinks they've got a twin. If I eat like that person, if I exercise like that person, if I do what that person does, then I'm going to look like that person. No. These two tractors are completely different beings. They come from different places. Even though they might have been made in the same factory, they've done different work, they're painted different colours, they're different. And humans, we're all unique and different. Doesn't matter what somebody else does as far as eating and exercise goes. If I do exactly the same thing, I'm not going to look like that person. I'm going to look like me. Guess what? You're going to look like you too. So what can we change and what can't we change, and what's going to actually work for us, not what has worked for somebody else and we think it might work for us too. So we can't change how tall we are. There's no eating or exercise plan that will make you shorter or taller. A lot of people say, I actually don't need to lose weight, I just need to be a metre taller, and that would probably be great, but you can't do that. So can't change how tall you are. Can't change the width of your shoulders, can't change the width of your hips, can't change the length of your arms, and they will all determine how fat sits on your body, how muscle sits on your body. It determines what you look like. So even though we can't change that, what is it that we can change? So there's that great quote, change the things that you can, accept the things that you can't, and make sure you've got the knowledge to know the difference. So I can't get wider or thinner shoulders, I can't get wider or thinner hips, I can't get longer bones, I can't get taller. I can determine how much fat I've got on my body. We have a predetermined number of fat cells unless you have liposuction, which obviously takes fat cells out of your body. The interesting thing about that, though, just as a side note, is that if you overfill a fat cell, it's got a baby fat cell attached to it. And if you overfill a fat cell, it will break in half or break apart. And that baby fat cell will become a new fat cell, and you can get bigger and bigger and bigger. So even if you're born with a certain number of fat cells, and they have suggested, I don't know who they are, and somebody counted them, it wasn't me, and I don't know who it was, it's been suggested the human body has somewhere between 40 and 50 billion fat cells, B with a billion with a B. But even if I've only got 30 billion or if I've got 100 billion, it doesn't mean they have to be full. They can be flat. So if you think of a balloon blown up, it can get quite large. But if it's flat, it doesn't take up very much space. So I can determine, you can determine how much fat you've got in your fat cell. Isn't that bloody awesome? Muscle's interesting too. If you're a bloke, you can get more muscle, but that again, how much you can get is determined by whether or not you take steroids and whether or not what your genetics are. So obviously some people are just born bigger and have the genetic potential to put on more muscle size. Women, we've got what we've got. We can't get any more. And yes, some women have more muscle size than others, but what you don't want to do is lose your muscle size, because if you lose your muscle size, you lose your metabolism, you lose your ability to walk around, move around, do all the things that you want to do. And I say that very passionately because older people stop moving around because they can't, because they've lost muscle. And that's the big determining factor of aging, is if I keep my muscle, I'll stay young because I can keep doing all the things that I want to do. I'll have a fast metabolism. And most importantly, remember, muscles produce a message that goes to the brain that says, if you use me, I have to stay strong. It's called a myokine, a message from the muscle to the brain to say, I've been overloaded, I need to be stronger, I need to be better for next time. So strength training is incredibly important, obviously, for all sorts of health reasons, metabolism, maintaining a leanness and a strength capacity for all of your life. Most importantly, fast twitch muscle fibers, because they're the ones that if you trip or you fall over, one of the biggest killers of old people is falling. But if you maintain your fast twitch muscle fibers, even if you do fall, you can get back up again because those fast twitch muscle fibers are still firing. So that's why I've got to lift heavy, that's why I've got to sprint, so that those fast twitch muscle fibers stay strong, they stay fast, they stay active. If you don't use them, you will lose them, and of course, if you use them, you won't lose them. So we can change all of that. We can determine how slowly or fast we get old. We can determine how slowly or fast we get fat, or if not at all. We don't have to get fat if we don't want to. Most people think I'm going to put on weight as I get older, or I'm going to put on weight during menopause, or I'm going to put on weight just because I'm chronologically aging, and that of course is not true. You don't have to get fatter, you don't have to get older physically. You can stay young and fit and mentally tough and physically able to do all the things that you want to do, and all of that is a choice. So I can't change how tall I am, I can't change the width of my hips or my shoulders, I can't change the genetics that I've been given, and I can't change what my parents gave me. But I can change how much fat's in my fat cell. I can stop myself from aging by keeping my muscle. I can be fit and I can be strong. But the program that somebody else does doesn't mean it's going to work for me. I have to work out what's going to work for me, and you need to work out what's going to work for you. What we do know is you get puffed, you'll get fit. If you overload your muscles and bones, you'll stay strong. How you do that's completely up to you. Some people like to sprint, some people like to dance, some people like to do martial arts, some people like to run around the hallway, up and down the hallway, some people like to run on the beach. It doesn't matter how you get puffed, your heart and lungs are blind and they can't count. They just respond to overload. Muscles are blind and they can't count. They just respond to overload. So it doesn't matter what you lift. You can lift a rock, you can lift a log, you can lift a dumbbell, a barbell, a kettlebell, you can lift a box of books, you can lift a bag of groceries. As long as you're overloading your muscles, you'll stay strong. Get strong, and stay strong for the rest of your life. Get fit and stay energetic for the rest of your life. Now that is a choice and nobody can stop you except yourself. If you decide that you're going to get old, you will. If you decide you're going to be tired and sick and lethargic and overweight, you will be. If you decide that you're going to get a flu in the winter, you will. We get to choose a whole lot of stuff that goes on inside our body. I choose to be healthy, fit and strong, and I choose to stay that way for the rest of my life. I don't have a twin. I don't have anybody that I want to copy. I just want to be healthy, fit and strong, the healthiest, the fittest and the strongest that I can be. How about you? Super duper doo. How are you? May you be amazing. Woohoo!